Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Cardvoyant. I'm Kris and I'm your Cardvoyant. And I thought today we'd talk a little bit about tarot since I'm your Cardvoyant and all that. You probably saw what I will be naming the video, and I've thought about this for a few days. And it is, when is an emperor not an emperor? This is the Emperor card from the Universal Rider-Waite deck. This is the deck that I use most often when I'm reading. Probably a lot of you are using it or at least familiar with it. It's kind of the standard, often what you start off with if you're learning tarot. This is similar. This is the Emperor from the old style tarot deck, which I also love. It's really a very cool deck. So the question, when is the emperor not the emperor? Well, it's kind of a two-part question. I mean, the answer is when your guides get to know you, and also when you decide that, right? I mean, when you're talking about the emperor, see if I can get him up there. I mean, you know that he's about power, right? And wisdom. He's got this beard. He's very much about the emperor's very much sort of about structure and rules in a way. He has the Ankh in one hand, he has the globe in the other. The Ankh is this like symbol of life, right? And then the globe, this sort of all-encompassing understanding and wisdom. He has this robe, this red robe of passion and caring and dedication, and the armor underneath it, which talks about the way that he's protected, the way that he protects others, right? The ram's heads in the four corners of his throne are this Mars Aries energy. And even like the mountains in the background, very different from other mountains in tarot that are usually kind of snow-capped, kind of blue. But this again talks about the strength of structure and his knowledge and his power and his understanding. This card is sometimes considered like the father figure of the tarot deck, right? So that's the way you learn it. That's the way you probably read it, or at least you begin reading it, right? And that's not wrong in any way. But as we evolve as tarot readers, because tarot is a tool, right? It's a tool for our guides to speak to us and through us, and through us for other people, to us as we read for ourselves. And that it changes and evolves. I mean, even with just reading for me, for clients, sometimes the Emperor card, any card, has a small portion of it, or it has a completely different meaning from that which you learn, like the standard meaning. But as your guides get to know you, things will come up that a card might represent. And as you recognize that, your guides will use it again and again when it's appropriate, right? So when is the emperor not an emperor? Well, let me give you an example. I was reading many years ago, probably, I think this was actually during the pandemic. And I was reading for someone who was very religious, and it's surprising the number of religious people that still very involved in their church, whatever church it is that I read for. It's a lot of people. But they're open, and it's always kind of fun because they're just so interested in the process. But anyway, this person that I was reading for was asking kind of big questions, big questions about their life. And of course, when we get major arcana cards, they're often about these bigger questions, sometimes universal questions, information, sometimes just like the big picture of the situation, very often about a person. Whenever I get like face cards, they're very often about a person, and major arcana, of course. But as I was reading for her and she was asking these questions and I was, getting a lot of different answers, I got to the emperor, which was kind of the center of her spread. And I knew like instantly what this was about. They were using this card to refer to source, what I would call source, or the all that is, that she would certainly refer to and did refer to as God. And it was talking about she had asked a big question about some things that were going on in her life, and this was talking about purpose. right? How we define purpose, how she defined purpose, the ways in which she was supported. And it was really lovely. And I think it meant something to her. Well, since that time, very often when the emperor comes up, and honestly, it's one of those cards that don't come up very often in readings for whatever reason. There are a few of those that I just don't get a whole lot, that people don't get a whole lot. But since that time, when the emperor comes up, it's very often talking about source. Sometimes it's talking about the ways in which the universe supports the person or this overall life purpose. And I'm not saying it's determining their purpose or saying this is your purpose. Rather, it's talking about what they feel is their purpose or the help that they feel their need in that they feel they need in moving toward their purpose. But this is how tarot works. And what I believe happens when we are using tarot cards or reading tarot is that we are connecting with our guides. When I'm reading for someone else, I'm connecting with their guides as well and asking my guides to kind of help interpret for the guides that I may not have worked with before, like how I work and what the cards mean to me. And so certain cards start to have specific meanings. That doesn't mean every single time I get the emperor, it's not going to be talking about source or the universe or God. It can be very much talking about a father figure or authority, especially authority. I mean, I get this card sometime with bosses and things like that. It can be a very positive card. It can, like all cards, it can have this sort of shadow aspect, not a reversed, because that's very different with reverse cards, but this sort of shadow aspect of being like overly protective or overly authoritarian, those kinds of things. So that comes up, but our intuition and the strong help of our guides will help us build new meanings as we work more and more with the tarot cards. And it's up to us to kind of recognize it. But the way that we recognize it is it sounds overly simple, but it's just to put yourself like kind of in the right quiet space before you do a reading, like a meditative space. But that doesn't mean you have to meditate. I usually do for a little while before, but it's just kind of like removing yourself from like the chaos of the world. So quiet time, listening to some music beforehand, connecting with your guides. And by that, I mean literally asking them to help you with the reading, thanking them for being there. I always invite my guides and the guides of the person I'm reading for into my space, like let me feel your energy kind of thing. And so you do that as a starting point, and then just listen and feel, and don't be afraid to say or write down, if you're reading for yourself, the things that just pop into your head. This is how any kind of connection works. It's just like what you hear, what you feel, what you see, that just kind of pops into your head. That is your guides working with you, speaking to you, speaking through you. Um, and that will help you determine like what that card means in the moment. Of course, it's good. It's very good to have the background of like what it's supposed to mean, right? But it doesn't mean that that is always going to be very specifically, right? Oh, this is an authoritarian figure who's just, has like got this power over you for some reason. Or this is talking about your dad or a father figure. That can be true, but listen to your guides, and they will speak more to you about what it's about. And as I said, as you read more and more, things will become specific. Specific cards will it'll be the first thing you think of. Like when this card comes up, as it rarely does, the first place I will go is this about source? Is this about the universe? And if it is, I feel it. You'll get the confirmation. If it's not, you can look at the other symbolism in the card. You can refer back to what you know about the card, and your guides will help you to understand that. and to understand what it means for that person or you in that circumstance. And that's how it is with all of the cards, um, especially, face cards or major arcana cards, because they're these big things, and they're easily identifiable, right? You know very much the symbolism of the major arcana cards. They're important, or you're learning them. You don't have to know everything. You can read it out of a book. You can read it out of a book. If you're just learning, it's fine. Turn to the page, read what it says, and then see how much of it feels right to you. One little quick story about this kind of intuitive stuff. This happens in many different ways and in many different circumstances or parts of you reading. For instance, the way that I work is that I just ask my guides, how many cards do I need for whoever I'm reading for? How many cards do I need? And then what should it look like? Sometimes the way the cards are laid out, I don't use like traditional spreads. That feels sort of limiting to me, but it's fine if you do. It's fine if that feels comfortable to you. It's kind of not comfortable to me. So I just ask, like, what should it look like? So maybe it'll be like 3 rows of 2 cards each, or very often it'll be 2 rows of three, or something with a card in the middle. I very often do like a 7 card spread that has like a card in the middle and obviously cards around it. And then many times it's in a pyramid shape. And so there might be 1 card, then 2 cards, then 3 cards, or 2 cards and three and four. You get it, pyramid shape. So I was doing this reading one time, and it was a very simple 6 card spread. So one, then two, then three, pyramid shape. That's how I would describe it to myself. And that's how I would describe it to the person. Although, of course, I always send them a picture of their cards when I do recorded readings. But for some reason, when I thought of this, it kept saying, yeah, I kept hearing in my head a Christmas tree. It's like a Christmas tree. It wasn't near Christmas. Like I shouldn't have had Christmas trees on my mind. But that's what I kept hearing, like a Christmas tree. So finally, as I start out the reading, I was kind of explaining, I had read, this was reading for the person for the first time. And I finally just said it because they kept saying it to me. I kept hearing it, right? And I said, I would call this a pyramid shape, but I keep hearing Christmas tree. This is a Christmas tree shape. So we'll just leave it at that. Here's a Christmas tree shape for your spread. And the woman I was reading for wrote back to me and said, it gave me chills when I heard that because my family owns a Christmas tree farm. My grandfather owned a Christmas tree farm for years. And she was asking, part of the thing, her grandfather had passed away not too long before, and part of her reading was asking about him. And so it was just, it was kind of crazy, and it made me feel so much better, right? I'm not insane for just like hearing Christmas tree, but that's most often that's how this will work for you, is you just kind of hear something or feel something or sometimes see something. I very often see something, and it might even be like a movie clip or something, but it has something to do with it, and it'll help. It's the way that it works is that me saying, oh well, this reminds me of such and such a movie, is that's something that they can relate to. I don't know it going into the reading, but my guides, their guides will give that to me, because they know that it will be meaningful for the person that I'm reading for. It's up to me to say it. It's up to you to recognize it. And it takes time, right? You develop a rapport with your guides, and they develop a system with you, just like with me, like the Emperor card coming to, it's King of Knight of Swords. I don't know why that came up. The Emperor card, just like the Emperor card coming up to mean source for me. And it's has been incredibly helpful in several readings when it comes up. And I'm like, I know what this is about. This card comes up for this, and it's coming up for this again now. So when is the Emperor not the Emperor? When it's not right for you. right? When your guides have something else to say and they're going to use this card. That's why tarot is such an incredible tool, because with these many cards, your guides can speak to you and through you in many different ways. So the traditional, go ahead, the traditional meaning, pieces of the traditional meaning with other stuff thrown in, or something that's kind of apart from it. But the symbolism, even the imagery, right? The imagery on the card, like if you were going to choose a card for to represent source or the all that is, I mean, that's a pretty good one. I have to say that sometimes when the Empress card comes up for me, it will be, or even the High Priestess, it'll be kind of talking about the same thing with more of an emphasis on the divine feminine for whatever reason that makes sense in that reading. So, that's very brief, but I hope that it is helpful to you. Above all, I think people get caught up in the structure and the meanings of the cards. Like I have to know everything, and this means this. This definitely means this. And the tarot cards are so malleable, and they're meant to be that way. They're meant for you to use as a tool, as they say, to connect to your guides, and they'll speak to you in many different ways. And the way you read may not be exactly how somebody else reads, and that's okay, right? It's how it comes to you. I very often see tarot readers very good ones. And they'll say, well, this card means this. And I'll be like in my head, well, maybe, but they're right. I mean, they're right in that instance. And what they're describing is what they know about the card, like how well they know it, but then something added to it. Or they're talking about this specific part of the card that they know and they feel relates to that particular reading. And you'll do that too. You'll do that too. I promise. You may already do it. You may just be like, oh, yeah, I get this. And if you're just starting out, I hope you'll continue and know that there's no like really hard and fast rules here. It's a tool. It's a tool for connection. All right, one last thing really quickly before I go. Hope that's helpful. Um, I just want to read a small, really short, I promise, excerpt from my book. This is the book. Um, let's see. I don't know if that's okay. Earth energy, what it is and how to use it. This is from the ending of the book has a few readings that are kind of about like where we are now in society, but also the big questions, like the big messages. And this is called The Energy of Oneness. And this is just a part of it, a very short part. But I thought it might be kind of helpful in these times that we're in. Um, but it says, and again, this is channeled messages that I channeled for the book. This was actually channeled in 2025, so fairly recently. And it says, for the power, the vibrational expression and pull of love is exponentially more powerful and grows in all directions, while the power of fear is always narrowly focused and limited in its ability to spread. Though spread it will if left unchecked and unmet by the radiant beauty and powerful force that is universal love, of which you are a part. Understand that your vibration of love, even as it may be small and only beginning to grow, is met and nourished by the loving vibration of all those individual souls, creatures, entities, and beings around you. This knowledge you held dearly and faithfully as you planned this lifetime, knowing its probable challenges and the ways in which individuals and groups and places and memories and lingering negative, or more accurately, fearful energies would flourish at this time, as they have in many other times, far too many other times, on this your earth, your planet of choice in this lifetime. Still did you and millions upon millions of other souls, beings, creatures, entities, and energies choose to take part in this adventure, this challenge. And great is the joy of the universe at the determination which is, in this positive sense, another word for love of all of you, of all and everything and everyone involved. The universe rings and sings continually with and of joy. And this joyous energy in all its forms and manifestations is, as we have said again and again in this and many other writings and displays and iterations, yours and always available to you. So I hope that's a helpful message to end on. I will have more earth energy stuff, much more tarot stuff. If there are questions you have about tarot or specific topics you'd like to talk about, just let me know. The link to get the book will be in the description, I think, is where I put it. And also my website, if for whatever reason, if you want to go there and see what that's all about. And if you're just learning tarot, keep it up, hang in there. It's worth it. It's a fantastic tool. And so I'll just say thanks for being here. Welcome if you're new here. And until next time, bye for now.